Okay, we have a 1996 Volvo 850 GL with a no start condition. Customer says, in fact, the customer just drove this thing back from Pennsylvania, 2-hour road trip, and he says every time he parks it and gets back in, he has to jump start it, and then it runs fine. So off the bat, I'm thinking it's February, the batteries probably had a tough winter, but we're not just going to change battery without checking a few things first. So let's get at it. We'll get it open, we'll check the surface charge right now on the battery to see what voltage is, and then we'll do a load test as best we can, and then we'll do a voltage drop test and a couple other little things. I have to shut the camera off now so I can open the door and get the hood open and everything. And another thing is, this is my second video. I still haven't gotten comfortable making videos. You know, I don't have a script, and I don't have a lot of time to be editing and you know, trying to make it perfect. I mean, pretty much it's all off the cuff. So let's get this one looked at, and hopefully we can get it done before dark. It's like 4:30, 4:45 right now, and I'd like to have this thing diagnosed and repaired. That includes running to the store for a battery if I need to before dark. Okay, this is my power probe tool, my favorite tool in the arsenal. As you can see, 0 volts. We're going to check the voltage on the battery. Static charge is 10.5 volts, which is pretty low. And we're going to try to set this up now and see what kind of a drop we get when we crank the starter, if it'll even start. Okay. Oh, forgot the key. No time for editing. This is all done in real time. Let's see if we can get up there on the power probe. Doesn't look like any good. I don't know if you can see that. I see it at, it's already like 9.5, 9.7. It's not enough to start the car, I'm sure. Yeah, it's dead. 8 volts. Alright, let's check our connections and see if we got anything that's draining the battery, and then we'll jump start it and check the alternator, make sure the charge is like at 14 volts before we go buy a battery. And we'll roll the window down. I'll just take the key out so we don't lock the key in the car. I'm gonna have to go get a 10 mil, take off this negative post. So hook up our test light. Oh, the light is on. The light is not on. The light is on. That is not a good sign. That means we have a voltage draw. So maybe this is not going to be as quick and as easy as I thought it was going to be. I wonder what that voltage draw is, how much. If I don't get the right reading on this. Oh, here we go. 8. That's what we should see, battery voltage. Alright, well this light is telling me that we have something drawing power. Key is not in the ignition. This is not a good sign. The battery may be good on this. It's just sucking power from somewhere. Now we got to start disconnecting things. Zero volts. That might be a good thing. That's what we want to see, zero voltage, but why is the light on? This could be a crappy low impedance light. That light should be out, or at least very dim. I have a better test light, or at least one that I'm more familiar with. But I don't like the fact that, oh, here we go, 6.2 volts. So whatever it is, it's drawing 6.2 volts. That's a very high voltage. Alright, I'm going to have to come up with some strategy here to figure out how to make this light go out. We might not have a bad battery. Okay, we're burning daylight, but as you can see, my test light is on right now and it shouldn't be on. And I have a voltage draw. Even though the battery's not fully charged, it's 8.2 volts. If I open the door, you see it jumps up to 10.5 volts. So that means, the interior lights are functioning. That's a voltage draw, causing the light to come on. One other thing I did while the camera was off is I disconnected my alternator. It was easy enough to get to, if you can see down there. So I eliminated that from the circuit. There's no internal diode problems or anything like that with the alternator causing my test light to stay on. And while I was off camera, I went over there to the fuse box and I removed all the fuses one at a time, and there was no change. So I'm at the point now where I have to look inside and see if there's a fuse box and see if there's any things I can unplug in there or pull fuses. I'm going to hook my alternator back up because this car just drove all the way from Pennsylvania 3 days and without a problem, according to the customer. The only problem was he had to jump start it every time he got back in the vehicle. I'm gonna, like I said, my experience tells me it could be something as simple as a wiper trans, not in park. I'm gonna play with the wipers, might be in the issue, after I reconnect the alternator and look for a fuse box inside the vehicle. This is a 1996 Vovlo 850 GL that had a no start issue yesterday, and I began shooting a video and hoping to diagnose and repair this vehicle before dark. Well, I came up with a strategy, and I also, want to make good videos. So since I'm new to the video thing, I kind of overthought, and I ended up going down a rabbit hole when I should have been keeping it simple, and wasted about an hour's worth of time before I got to the real problem. And then I did correct the problem and did the repair. So it's the next morning, and I wanted to show you what I did and what I expected to see, and then what I did after I realized where I made my mistake and ended up chasing the wrong issue, or something that, I went down the rabbit hole, and it happens. I mean, I had plenty of people I known in the past. I guess what you do is you overthink when something is very simple. So let me show you what I wanted to do and what I expected to see, and then you'll see where I made my mistake. All right, I'm going to show you the video of what I did last night. But what I should have done, which is I did a few things correct. I initially verified the customer's complaint. I got in the vehicle, attempted to start the vehicle after it was dropped off 2 hours earlier, expecting it to possibly have some kind of charge in the battery and at least crank over, but it didn't. So the next thing I did was check my surface charge on the battery, which was, I believe, about 10.5 volts. And then what I wanted to do was disconnect the negative cable and hook up a test light to determine if I had a voltage draw on the system. And I'm going to do that real quickly, and we're going to see what happens with the test light. And we'll see if we reproduce the problem I ran into yesterday, or if we see what I expected to see. And then I'll explain to you what the problem was that took me down the rabbit hole. Okay, so I have my test light hooked up in series with the negative side of the battery, and the light is on. Now I expect this light to be on for about 30 seconds to a minute and then slowly dim and turn off. Apparently it's not going to do it right now because I just realized I left the door open. So we're going to close the door, take the key out of the ignition, and you see the light went out. This is what I expected to see last night, but it didn't happen that way last night, which led me down a rabbit hole, and I went chasing a problem that didn't exist for about an hour. And the reason was, when I attempted to start the vehicle without a good surface charge and a weak battery, which I also didn't check the date on the battery. There was a date on there for March 2013, so that meant it was a 7-year-old battery. I neglected to remember that this car has an immobilization system that in order to start the vehicle, you have to put the key in the door sometimes after removing the battery to cycle the locks to disable the alarm system or the immobilization system. So what was happening was, since the system was initiated, my test light stayed on and I had a voltage draw, which led me to believe I had some kind of circuit problem, and I did all kinds of crazy stuff before I decided to reconnect the battery, jump start it, and verify that my alternator was charging. After I verified the alternator was charging, I let it charge for about 5 minutes, expecting the battery to hold the charge. And when I turned off the vehicle and tested my surface charge, I still did not have 12-volt battery. And when I put a load on it, it dropped down to almost nothing, which took me back to my initial my gut feeling that I had a bad battery to begin with. And as you can see, I replaced the battery and problem solved. I was going to make a little video about batteries. I hadn't purchased a battery in probably a decade. Normally I go to the recycling yard to get my batteries, so I pay very little. Only expecting to replace a battery before I left work, I couldn't find a battery this size. It has to be a certain size to fit in this case, and also a certain cold cranking amp. So I had to go out and buy a battery. I tried the place that I never seemed to be able to purchase anything except maybe a light bulb once. I went to the closest place was AutoZone, and the batteries there were very expensive, I felt. So my next choice was to try Walmart, which I believe I got a pretty good battery for the price, and there's a good warranty, and Walmart is pretty much nationwide. And I replaced the battery, and the problem is solved. So I'm going to reconnect the battery, start the vehicle, show you the video clips from last night, because I want to make a video, whether it's good or bad. It's all real to life. I'm sure all the people who do this for a living have good days and bad days, and have all been down the rabbit hole. I just feel like such an idiot. But then, like I said, sometimes you overthink. Sometimes, I have the distraction of the video making process going on in my head. This is unscripted. I'm trying to think too far ahead of myself. These people online, some of them make it look so easy. I don't want to give any names out right now. I have a few that are my favorites, and they know who they are. So, reconnect the battery, show you that the vehicle starts, and this video I think is a done deal. Okay, I've just reconnected my battery, and as you can see, my four-ways are flashing. There's no siren. I don't know if the horn is disconnected or if it even comes with a siren for the alarm system, but here I'm going to recycle my locks, which disables the immobilization system. Put the key in the ignition and it should start. And it started. Voila. So instead of getting this vehicle done in less than an hour, it took me almost 2 hours, and that was including the trip to Walmart. And I was finishing up just after 7 p.m. and it started to rain. That's why I didn't bother putting up a camera and start filming again to show you. And it was dark. So this one is done. I need to get a dipstick, because that the old piece is in there. I gotta get maybe a pair of needle nose to fish that out and replace that. Like I said, sometimes you go down the rabbit hole, but I did eventually come to the right end, the right ending, which was vehicle repaired.